Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown between FPOD and Outer Region. It's going to be the Lizardmen versus Vampire Counts. Look, to be a pretty fun one. We actually have Manfred von Karstein with his double Forbidden Rod Necromancer team, basically the infinite winds of magic combo, and they're going to be facing off against the big original Magic Man himself, Lord KROAK. Now, Lord KROAK actually does have some decent crowd clearing against the undead, who are very slow, right? Like Graveguard, I think, have speed in the 20s. Zombies and skeletons aren't going to be terribly effective at dodging his stuff. You know, if he's spamming the cheap ones especially, I'm actually really excited for this. This is going to be super fun. So looking at the Vampire Count build here for Outer Region, it is going to be Manfred on the Hellsteed. So just going for the cheaper mount, and he's going to be using Master of the Black Arts, I would imagine, or no, Sword of Unholy Power. So this thing basically, if Manfred stays in combat fighting like a Skink or a SARS or a Chaff unit essentially, he's going to be generating infinite reserves. There's no limit on this. So, I mean, obviously the game is going to come to its conclusion, and but you can still get a lot of extra wins of magic with this, and then the double Necromancers, both of which are going to be using the Forbidden Rods, going to be violently stroking those bad boys. And yeah, it's really good if you want to spam like Winds of Death to try and clear out armies. Normally a spell like Winds of Death is like a big commitment. You have to look at it and be like, oh man, that's going to eat a lot of my Winds of Magic. Is it worth it? But with Manfred and the double Forbidden Rods, which were nerfed a couple patches back, but are still very good, you can get an insane amount of Winds of Magic. So Graveguard are very good against Lizard Infantry. They'll defeat most of them pretty handedly, so... Over here we do have the Dinos. It's going to be your boy Nakai, and he's going to make a big difference in that blob fight for sure. He's got some really good items, actually. Golden Tributes is insanely good. 10% ward save and perfect vigor. Like, having Nakai roll with like a Dread Saurian or a big monster is super strong. We got Sara Spears, Lord KROAK, and Bastillodon with the Rev Crystal coming in for FPOD. FPOD is such a fun player to watch. I watched, yeah, you guys probably saw the Chaos Dwarf game a couple weeks ago with the train. Yeah, he's just got all sorts of fun builds. Anyways, the battle's soon to be on. We'll do a little bit of fast forwarding here on the Glade of the Ever Queen as the battle does begin. And the poor Ancient Salamander, this guy's, he was definitely not super accurate here. He misses his first shot and is going to be getting attacked by Manfredo. And Manfred's a pretty good fighter himself. All vampires, even the more wizard-focused ones, are generally pretty good fighters, and kind of reflects how they are on tabletop as well. But yeah, you don't want to mess with Nakai. Nakai will definitely show Manfred who's boss in a straight fight. And Manfred is going to be forced to run, and Nakai just kind of roaring angrily up into the skies. Now, zombies coming in. Another shot missed from the Ancient Salamander. Certainly a disappointment to his parents at this point, as we do see the Manfredo coming in once again to just maybe cycle charge and keep him honest. Cold One Riders, and it looks like it is going to be the Cudgel variant, so the Generalist variant, which I think is pretty good here. Granted, they will get out-traded very heavily by Cryptors. Cryptors did lose about 800, 900 HP in the last patch. But even still, they're still a top tier unit. Very, very good. Vampire Counts are pretty well balanced now. Like, when I play against them, I feel like I can really, have good even matchups. Whereas in some of the previous patches, man, it was super, super oppressive. Some more shots coming in, and does get a nice little tickle there on those Cryptors. Not that much, though. And the Cudgel Cav are going to be coming in to run through the zombies as the Saurus get ready to grind against them. Saurus Spears are definitely a good choice here. With Cryptors being somewhat prevalent, you're going to want to have those spear-based infantry. Now, back objective taken by the Lizards. This objective is currently being heavily contested, both sides sending all their resources on. We see the Sternsmen, we see Graveguard right here, and we see more Graveguard. That's a hell of a lot of capture weight for the Vampire Counts. And I really just want to see what Lord KROAK's going to be doing. So I'm trying to take a bit of a macro look at things to see where he's going to be dropping the sick beats. Nice flank here. Double Cryptors moving around, chasing back the Cold One Riders, but good micro in pulling those back. Also going to be keeping tabs on Winds of Death. We do see the Shield of the Old Ones, Supreme Shield, and Primal Roar going down. So that's going to sauce out those Saurus Warriors with 40% physical or ward save and another 10 from the amulets of the big dino here, Nakai. So here comes a nuke. That is going to be going down here, and let's see what that is going to be. Is that going to be... Oh, the Deliverance of Pizza. It's right. It doesn't do friendly fire, so it could be some pretty nice crowd clearing there as those two zombies get melted. Now, I know it might not seem like, oh, it's just zombies, but still clearing them out and allowing your spears to better engage against like Cryptors and units like that is going to be mega cost effective. But Outer Region playing the true undead way, swarming the objectives. So he's got skeleton all over the place, and yeah, 1, 2, 3 skeletons here should be able to rip this objective from the Lizards, whereas the Dinos are probably going to be more focused on value trading. Big Winds of Death coming down from Manfred. Incredibly nice on those Saurus Spears. A lot of damage. And again, because of the double Necromancer and his Forbidden Rod, and Manfred's been in combat quite a bit, like, he's not really caring too much about that. Now, this is a good fight here. We do get the Cold One Riders on top of the Graveguard, and here comes another shot, and it looks like that one's going to be done. Oh my god! That has a huge range! Damn, dude, those Sternsmen got nuked by that. Oh, that was so good. So Lord KROAK cackling all the way to the bank here as Manfred goes for a little bit of a gooning in the back, trying to take down Ancient Salamander, which is shooting and supporting the Saurus Spears. And remember, Saurus have 5 capture weight. These are all expendable, so they have 2 apiece, so 2, 4, 6, 8. So it's a little bit of a capture weight advantage, but honestly, if the Lizards can get like a single skink there, they could probably stabilize that objective. But Lord KROAK, man, That big shot on the Lizardmen, very, very cost effective. And honestly, here you can see a lot of the zombies starting to get crumbled down a little bit. Nice javelin play coming in from the skink cohorts and doing some good damage against the Cryptors here, as Lord KROAK going to be dropping some more sick beats, but it looks like that one is going to be dodged. Wow, but it still hits the skeleton spears. Man, the range on that is so good. It would be so cool if KROAK became meta. Oh my god, it'd be so cool. He's such a fun character. I mean, it's a long windup, so typically you can dodge it, but these like slower undead units certainly have been having a little bit of a trouble doing that. But yeah, Winds of Death going down. Man, this is just a magic duel right now. Big wins, melts those Saurus, and the other ones get wrecked pretty badly too by that. So these players have just been going back and forth on the old magic dueling, which has made for a pretty entertaining match. But in the backfield, looks like lizards are pretty stable for the most part. We do see some zombies and infantry going down here as the skink skirmishers pop out of the woods, and the cudgel cavalry move in to clear out the advancing grave guard. Ancient Salamander still alive and shooting, doing some okay damage at some of the infantry a little bit deeper set in the formation, but now the champions of the night have brought in their elites. So the Blood Knights have come in. Blood Knights will dominate Colden Riders in combat pretty well. Granted, Colden Spear Riders do pretty well against them for the cost, I would say, but the non-anti-large variant will struggle. And now the Knights are going to charge in, which is a little bit of a precarious charge. There's a lot of Saurus spears here, and yeah, they get a nice flank to an extent. No, not really. Most of the cav are on the other side. So the Blood Knights end up taking a little bit of a suboptimal engagement, actually, charging into spear units. So that could be a little blunder that could cost Outer Region quite a bit of momentum, because that's a unit that needs to be impactful when it comes on. And now it looks like they're setting their sights on some skirmishers, which again is not exactly what they want to be doing. Ideally, Blood Knights should be going after the Ancient Salamander, but they're in enemy territory. There's a lot of Colden Riders. There's poison coming in. It's going to be a tough fight for them at the end of the day. So this objective owned by the Vampire Counts, and oh man, is he going to see this? The Lizardmen just could get absolutely obliterated. If that's like a big mega cast, oh man, big damage, guys. Going to be negative 19 leadership, and that will probably give the Saurus Spears the victory in this fight. Oh man, they're still not crumbling. The Lizardmen are such a resilient unit. But the Spears are obviously able to trade into the Cryptors and the Necromancer very cost effectively. Nakai and company able to clear out this pocket of undead, and now Nakai, come on, do the animation. Do the attack animation. No, he's just going to waddle. He has that really cool one. There you go, the big charging animation, yes. But yeah, he's going to lend a lot of combat support. We do see the value for FPOD coming up pretty considerably, as in the backfield, Manfred von Karstein able to effectively take down the Ancient Salamander with his elites of the night. So the Blood Knights here able to absorb those shots well. They get an invocation, and the Salamander is taken offline. So that's a pretty nice little value grab for Outer Region, but I feel like dealing with this big lizard mass here is going to be so incredibly tough. We do see objective number 2 being held by the lizards. They got some skink reinforcements on their way in. Skinks do okay against skeleton units. Typically, they should win it. Their stats are a little bit better, and they're also, I think, similar numbers. Yeah, pretty much right down the center here. Ripperdactyls, not Ripperdactyls, the Devils of Swarthoff, and I saw flying bat wings and got a little bit confused there, but they are going to be recharging in, and they're a great shock damage unit. They'll for sure melt down a Colden Spear Rider. And they do have some skeleton support, but the Saurus Spears have really been one of the big backbones for the Dinos this game that I think have been incredibly difficult for the Vampire Counts to deal with. So, Lord KROAK once again fighting in combat. Look at a big KROAK Daddy's value. I bet you he's up over 2,000. His animated body here going ham. Yep, just at about 2,000 there from all those different vortex effects. Saurus Spears still anti-large poking in, and the Lizardmen have been melted so horrifically by that damage that you can really start to see the momentum of the battle start to shift here. As Nakai the Wanderer probably going to be able to finish off this Necromancer. Yep, gets a nice hit right there and connects. And the battle rages on, my friends. In the backfield, Blood Knights dove a little bit too greedy and too deeply, and they do get trapped in place. And oh man, another shot from Lord KROAK. Just the MLG KROAK shots all game. Saurus Spear, Colden Riders melting down those Knights. And it looks like there's going to be an attempted Winds of Death, which will do a little bit of damage. The way the Saurus are moving in, that's actually quite nice. It does go right down the line and tickles a lot of those units there. Also does hit some of the Graveguard, which might lead them to actually crumbling. But yeah, Blood Knights going down here in the back to KROAK's magic, and the Colden Riders in tandem with the Spears is pretty brutal. And now you can see Outer Regions making a bit of a desperation play. Let's move over to objective number 2, just taking advantage of what mobility he has against the more static Lizardman army. And he's just going to be trying to grab the objectives. Looking at the points, the Vampire Counts are up in points, so trying to play that kind of objective grab late game, certainly is strong. But I feel like the Lizards are up in value so hard right now. Although Manfred's healing maybe compensates a little bit for that, but there's just going to be so many more lizard units on the battlefield, right? Like these Colden anti-large riders will be, pretty menacing here. Granted, the direwolves are infantry size, but even still, they should be able to win that and get a very, very cost-effective charge in those bad boys. So they move on in there. Manfred dropping a zombie summon behind him. Classic Vampire Count tactics. When people charge you with cavalry, you drop zombie summons on top of the cavalry, pin them in place, kill them with Cryptors. That's like Vampire Count's OG strategy 101 right there. Nakai moving across, getting his big old beat stick. Supreme Shield of the Old Ones is active, and he probably will be able to drag down these Cryptors with the help of the Colden Spear Riders. Objective number 2 is going to be firmly in the control of the Lizards, and this one is also pretty anchored down. We've got to bestow it on Rev Crystal, a couple Saurus units. It would take some stopping power, and the Vampire Counts are kind of in Reaganomics mode, where it's just trickle-down theory at this point. not going to be terribly efficient at dealing with this old blob here. So in the back, Manfred trying to pull what he can. Salamander hunting packs coming in, providing a little bit of fire damage, and they can certainly do work against Manfred. You know, he doesn't have he has the hunger, which doesn't make you weak to fire. It's regeneration. But Crypt Drawers are often going to get wrecked badly by Salamander hunting packs, right? They're weak to fire, they're lightly armored, pretty much everything that a Salamander hunting pack wants to be fighting. So Vampire Count's losing out of momentum here, moving up with what appears to be Skeletons and the Necromancer, who's back, trying to get some wins of magic for your boy Manfred. But Manfred, he's not going to be able to carry this one. He's no Astrogoth Ironhand. He's not going to just cheese the entire map and basically go from there. So Zombie Summon, tar pitting the Salamanders, but they should be able to get away. They have okay mass. And at this point, I honestly just don't see any way that Outer Region's going to be able to get this game back. So we can do a little bit of fast forwarding. I simply think he's just going to tap out, maybe go for a side cap at this point. But now the Lizards are up on points and value, which gives them a lot of time to work with. I certainly like this maneuver to the side, but the Lizard Infantry are very stalwart. Like, Saurus units, that I hate Saurus video, which I love so much with Carl Franz, like talking about how he hates Saurus, is like the most accurate thing ever. They just are so annoying to get rid of. They're so incredibly annoying. In my early predictions of like domination mode, they were like one of the things that I was like, oh, they're going to make the Lizardmen very solid, but it ended up being mostly Skinks and Saurus, I suppose. Salamander Hunting Pack shoot again. Outer Region kind of scrapping here a little bit. He does have the Crypt Horrors fighting, but Old Nakai giving ward save to all these units. And when he's close enough to them, he does give the Perfect Vigor as well. But now what's going to happen is like the back objective for the Vampire Counts is simply going to get captured. We do get some Blood Knights coming back. They didn't hear no bell. They're back for round 2. The 1200 value in their previous life certainly isn't terrible. Manfred having a big old Haggard Wizard duel in the back with Lord KROAK. Lord KROAK able to show him his boss. KROAK's got a 26 melee attack. He's not helpless. Manfred eating some fire to the face, and the anti-large cavalry have gotten a nice jump on him, and he is large on his Hellsteed mount. As the Skink Legion does move over to Objective 1, we are going to see more Lizard troops coming in, Colden Riders intercepting the Blood Knights. This objective is going to be flipping right here, ladies and gentlemen, and that is basically going to be it. We get some Nakai cinematic shots. As we do probably close out this game, Vampire Counts are going to realize very quickly, obviously in the heat of the moment, it's very easy to just be like, oh yeah, I'm still in this. But then you take a peek at the value, you're like, wait a second, things are looking a little bit bleak there. That was a really fun game, really cool build. I loved all the KROAK bombardments. 3,200 value on Big Daddy there, and we did also see Nakai do very well too. Saurus Spears, they're great. I mean, they suck against Graveguard, but if you can clear the Graveguard with, KROAK and Nakai, then hey, they're going to deal with most of the other vampiric threats pretty well, right? Blood Knights ended up getting 2,100 there, fighting at the very end, but still didn't pay for themselves. Manfred was a beast, 2,700. Winds of Death Spam is good. It's a very viable strategy, but at the end of the day, big man KROAK, he carried. GG, well played. Awesome game by FPOD in Outer Region. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you on the other side.